The concept of nothing is perhaps one of the most perplexing and elusive in all of philosophy. From the earliest thinkers to modern scientists, the idea of nothing has both fascinated and confounded human minds, challenging the boundaries of our language, our logic, and even our imagination. But what exactly is nothing? And why does it defy definition? So at first glance, nothing seems simple, the absence of anything. But to say nothing is to already imply something, which is a paradox that runs deep through philosophical thought. Ancient Greek philosophers grappled with this dilemma. Parmenides, for example, denied the very existence of nothing. He claimed that non-being could not be, for if it were, then it would be something. The universe, in his view, was a totality of being, a solid, unchanging whole in which nothing had no place. For Parmenides, the idea of nothing was not just difficult to define, it was impossible to even conceive. Plato, on the other hand, offered a different vision. He spoke not directly of nothing, but of the imperfect nature of our material world, where absence and lack are part of our lived experience. Yet, for Plato, even this absence hints at the existence of something more, something perfect, found only in the realm of forms. Even when there appears to be nothing, we are guided toward the idea of an ultimate reality which transcends the material. The medieval period introduced a theological dimension to the problem of nothing. In Christian theology, the universe was created ex nihilo, out of nothing, by the will of God. This notion of something, indeed everything, could come from nothing, became the cornerstone of religious metaphysics. It raised new questions. What kind of power is required to bring forth existence from non-existence? And what, if anything, does this tell us about the nature of nothing? For Augustine and Aquinas, nothing was a backdrop against which God's creative power was displayed. And yet, paradoxically, the very idea of nothing was necessary to show the fullness of God's omnipotence. As the centuries passed, modern philosophers took up the challenge. Descartes, the father of modern philosophy, approached the question of nothing through radical doubt. He doubted everything, even the existence of the world itself. Yet, even in his total doubt, he found that nothing could not be absolute, because the very act of doubting proved that there was something. His own thinking self, cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am, became the affirmation that even in the face of nothingness there remains the undeniable reality of thought. Leibniz pushed the boundary even further with his famous question, why is there something rather than nothing? This question, simple in form, yet profound in implication, haunts metaphysics. Why does existence predominate over non-existence? Why, in all the vastness of possibility, does the universe exist at all? In many ways, Leibniz's question is one we can never fully answer, for to contemplate nothing is to step outside the realm of being, where thought itself seems to falter. Kant, too, recognised the limits of human understanding. He argued that our minds are structured to think in terms of objects and experiences, and were bound by time and space. The idea of nothing lies beyond the limits of our reason. We can point towards it, we can gesture at the idea, but we can't truly grasp it. Nothing represents a boundary to human cognition, a void where the tools of thought and language break down. In the 20th century, existentialist thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre took a new approach to nothing. Sartre didn't treat nothing as a metaphysical question, but a central feature of human existence. In his monumental work, Being and Nothingness, he explored the idea that nothingness is the condition for human freedom. We are not fully bound by a fixed essence or predetermined path. Instead, our lives are filled with the possibility of choice, of creating meaning where there is none. But with this freedom comes anxiety, for nothing looms large as the backdrop of existence, a reminder that our lives have no inherent meaning unless we give them one. For Sartre, nothing is the space where human possibility unfolds, but it's also the source of existential dread. Then there is Nietzsche. So Nietzsche's philosophy often brushes against the abyss of nothingness. In his critique of traditional values and beliefs, Nietzsche declared, "God is dead," meaning that the foundations of morality and purpose had crumbled. What remained was a kind of nihilism, a recognition that at the deepest level there is nothing. But Nietzsche did not see this as the end. He saw it as a challenge to create new values, to affirm life even in the face of the void. For him, nothing was not an empty absence, but a creative potential, a space where new worlds could be built. But perhaps the most striking exploration of nothing comes from Martin Heidegger. Heidegger reviewed nothing as a fundamental part of being itself. In moments of profound anxiety, he argued, we confront the nothing that underlies our existence. This is not the nothing of negation, but a more primal void that reveals the contingency and fragility of all things. Why is there anything at all? Heidegger asks, echoing Leibniz, but with recognition that this question doesn't merely seek an answer. It opens us up to the mystery of being itself. And what of science? Modern physics has shown us that even in a vacuum, what we once thought of as nothing is not truly empty. Quantum mechanics reveals that particles can spontaneously appear and vanish in what we call a vacuum state. This challenges our classical notion of nothing, suggesting that even in the absence of matter, there is still a kind of fluctuation, a potential for something to emerge. This scientific view complicates the metaphysical question of nothing, blurring the line between absence and existence. So here we are, standing at the edge of the abyss, looking into the void of nothing. It is a concept that stretches the limits of our understanding, a space where thought collapses and paradox reigns. It is the absence of all things, yet it is inescapable in our discussions of being. It is feared, yet it is necessary for creation. It is denied, yet it confronts us at every turn. Nothing is not just the absence of something, it is a question, a challenge, and perhaps the deepest mystery of all. How do we speak of it, think of it, and define it? Perhaps, in the end, we cannot. And yet, in the very impossibility, we find the essence of philosophy itself. The quest to understand nothing is inseparable from the quest to understand being. For in the void of nothing, we confront the very nature of existence. So that's my thoughts on the various ideas that surround the concept of nothing. And as you can see, it's a really difficult concept to pin down and define in any sort of concrete way. People have been trying for as long as we've been able to think about such things. And although there are lots of different perspectives, I'm not convinced we are any closer to any sort of truthful definition of nothing, whether it be in the scientific sense or in the sort of metaphysical sense. So it is a deep and complex question, but as I say, it's not what really the answers that matter. It's the possibilities that opens us up to. So that's all for today's video. A really quick and dirty look at the concept of nothing and why it's actually far more complicated than it seems upon the surface. So if you have enjoyed the video, don't forget to like the video, hit the bell notifications, subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff. But also, jump in the comments and try and define nothing. How would you define nothing? Jump in the comments and let me know, because I would love to see the various different attempts at definition. So thank you very much and goodbye.